Oh, that's a fantastic goal!
Taken down, referee playing a good advantage for Spurs. It's to be foul! Oh, save!
That's going to have a crack. He is, you know. Oh, I say!
Messi. Oh, brilliant skill from Lionel Messi. Surging forward with real menace here. Brilliant from Messi. Oh, what a goal that is!
Yes, good morning. Savva here from Football Heritage TV. Apologies that this is a couple of minutes later than normal. It was set that way on purpose. I've just had an interview this morning, so I've just come fresh from that. Fresh from that on screen. And here we are talking all things Tottenham Hotspur. It is match weekend. Tottenham Hotspur versus Luton Town. As always in the morning, we like to take questions. We like to talk about your comments. So please start getting them in while I do some hellos. Smash the like button, all of that kind of good stuff. And happy Friday to every single one of you. What are we thinking for tomorrow? Interesting, isn't it? Games like this, normally you just go, yeah, we're going to smash them. I do worry about where some goals might come from. Hey, that's just me. So let's do some good mornings. Let's do the admin. Come on, smash the likes, blah, blah, blah. Over 130 of you in here, only 34 likes. If we just smash it, I don't have to keep on asking. And subscribers, can you believe it? I cannot believe it. We're still 6 subscribers away from 11,500. This has been the worst drought this week ever in terms of subscribers. Big up to Vinny Rowley inside the house. Big up to you, my man. Big up to Epistemic Autocracy. Love that name. A very good morning to you as well, Dave. Very good morning to you. I hope you are well. Crossbone, good morning to you. Billy Andrews, morning Savva. We should have enough quality to beat Luton, but if they park the bus, it's going to be a long afternoon. Ain't that the truth, Billy? That's the problem, isn't it? When teams park the bus, are we gonna work out how to break these teams down without needing last gasp winners because we're throwing the kitchen sink? Let's see what happens. Tyrell Gunner, good morning to you, my friend. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning to me. That's me. Good morning. Good morning, Richard. Good morning. Morning to Mark Cook. Hope you're well. Skyline's there. Perchy, hope you're feeling better. Skyline, apologies again for the other day. Hope you're feeling better, Perchy. Hope you're well, my man. Simon Davis in the chat. Let's get our highest goal tally of the season so far this weekend. Sorry, Simon. Let's get our highest goal tally. What, you want 6? You want us to score 6 past Luton Town? Alan Shepherd's in the house. Good morning to Alan Shepherd as well. Just a girl who loves Spurs is here. Big up to you, Kate. Morning, Pedro. Good morning to Mark Cousins. Big up, Mark. Hope you're well, my man. Skyline, absolutely. Come on, guys. Like the video. Good morning, Daniel Turner. Good morning to Ramon. Good morning to you, my friend. How are you? Good morning to the Big D. Oh, God. Do you know what? I don't think I couldn't even step inside a McDonald's at the moment, let alone work there. I'm not allowed to eat anything. So, yes. Big up to you, Perchy. I've got your question. I'm going to answer that in a minute. By the way, if there are questions and it looks like I missed them, it's not. I mean, I am starring them in the background. So I've seen one from Perchy. I've seen one from Kuva. I will get there. Thank you, David. Yes, I think it went well. You never know, do you? You never know. We were laughing and joking and serious at times, but you never know. We'll see. Morning, Siraj. Yes, it is worrying we're getting long-term injuries, but that's football, right? That's football. No other club's going to have sympathy for us, and this is what the clubs need to overcome. The rabbit food, yeah, it's all right. Do you know what? I complain. I'm like, oh my God, I can't eat anything. What that actually means, I think, for most people in language is basically I can eat everything, just nothing that's processed, nothing bad. So every day I'm having chicken, I'm having fish, I'm having fruit, I'm having veg, I'm having, I'm having eggs and stuff. So I am having lots of food. It's not Domino's pizza and stuff. And I can already see in my face is gone. And today I hit the 1 stone mark. So this morning I am 1 stone lighter, and I've been doing it for 18 days. So I've done a stone in 18 days, which I'm quite happy with. Big up, Kate. So yeah, sub to Savva if you hate Jurgen Klopp. 6 away from 11,500. And of course, as soon as we said that, we've gone down to what is wrong with the world. Kuva, the cult leader, is here. Yes, good morning to Kuva and his cult of title winners. Video complete. Sofian, say hi, Savva. Sonny needs to work on his aerial ability. I don't see him scoring a lot with his head, and needs to have that if he wants to play up front. Some players just aren't built that way. Let's be brutally honest. This isn't the guy you throw crosses into, is it? Is he going to change now? What is he, 31? Is that going to change? I'm not so sure. Future Music, good morning to you. One love and all that. I'll go through. George Ellaway, I've got your question. I'll get to that in a minute. Good morning, Daniel. Good morning to Chris out there in Toronto. Yes. Change my Premier League tier. I always forget. I just can't be bothered. Like, do you know what? Fantasy football was a lot more fun when you knew it was going to play every week. Nowadays, like, you're picking players going, is the manager even going to play this player? Like, I've got Darwin Núñez in mind at times, and it's like, oh, is he going to play today? Is he going to be on the bench? And then the day that I drop him, he plays, and I don't know. It's all good fun, isn't it? Good morning, Tottenham Oracle. Good morning to Mario 2012. Good morning to you. Joseph Tyler's in the chat. Said, morning, Savva. Loving the channel as always. Keep up the good work. Luton will be a tough but ideal game to try to give 1 or 2 of the under-21 lads some minutes, especially with some of the injury concerns. Let's see if they do. I mean, I think what we do know, Joseph, is we'll definitely have 2 or 3 of them on the bench. I'm guessing with how the squad looks. We'll definitely have 2 or 3 on the bench. Whether or not any of them start, I don't know. Talking about people coming off the bench, here he is. Look, he's missed the start of the kickoff, but he is here 5 minutes into the game. How are you, mate?
I'm all right. Just chilling out. It's been a quiet day so far, but always here to chat about all things. All things,
not just football.
Yeah, all things in general.
Yeah. I mean, someone asked if I was interviewing at McDonald's. Can you imagine working at McDonald's, that smell all day? Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
You'd go nose blind, wouldn't you? You'd go nose blind.
Oh, for sure. Can you imagine it being like
coffee anymore? But people say, "Oh, Ben, you stink of coffee." Oh, do I?
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah, I just think of YouTube. It just is what it is, mate. Good morning to everyone. I won't be able to get through to everyone. There are a lot of people in the chat. Definitely no 40 Nuggets tomorrow in Ketic. No. Definitely not. But we will be live tomorrow from 11:30 all the way for an hour build up to the game, and then obviously through the game and then after the game as well. So join us for that. I'm just getting some questions from people, Ben, for us to answer. So we'll let that build up for a few minutes. Yeah. That was an interesting one about Joseph's comment here was interesting about an ideal game to try and give 1 or 2 of the under-20 lads some minutes. I think we'll definitely see 2 or 3 of them on the bench, won't we? Needs must.
Absolutely. I'd love to see Jamie Donnelly, maybe the Iago Santiago, give him a go. Just attacking flair. I think that's what we're going to need tomorrow against Luton. They are a physical team. They put players behind the ball. So we're going to have to play a system that stretches those fullbacks and to create space for those central players. If we try and do what we did against Liverpool with 9 men, we'll be playing all day and not get a goal. We have to stretch the field, and it's a very small field, so we're going to have to make as much space as possible for those central players. I think Richarlison will probably start tomorrow on that, either in the left position. I know Sonny is training apparently, but if he's got a groin issue, we should not be playing him at all. He shouldn't even be on the bench. We shouldn't let him go to Korea. We shouldn't let him play against Vietnam and Tunisia as much as he's an icon. Even if he goes and doesn't play, but still, it's still 15 hours in a plane there and back each way. So 30 hours on a plane. It's going to be a real issue if he's.
I think we kind of need to get to that stage where City and Liverpool are, where if Mo Salah's got a groin strain, they can look around and go, all right, don't play. We'll put Diaz in. We'll put Nunes in, Jota. Unfortunately, we're not there yet, but that shouldn't be at the detriment of long-term injuries. So, yeah, I completely agree with you. I would definitely like to see Santiago, Donnelly, Valise and Phillips on the bench. Yeah. If you are, I'm not counting chickens. You know me, I don't get carried away. If we are 4-0 up with 20 minutes to go, why not? Yeah. Why not bring on Donnelly, Santiago? You know, I fail to believe that Donnelly and Santiago playing for 20 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever, is the difference between us losing a 3 or 4 goal lead or not. I just don't believe it.
Quite a lot of these Luton Town players played in League One, right? They haven't really brought that many players in. That is their level of the under-21s Tottenham team, really. They should be able to play against this level of player, and they're not the quickest unit, Luton. So put young, fresh, quick legs against them and see how they fare. I think Donnelly and Santiago could do really well against them. Give them a go.
Listen, it's how somebody can... what's the wife calling me? I'll call you back. She hates me. The number of times I just send, the template, I'll call you back. And then 2 hours later, I'll get, you haven't called me back. I'm excited to see them. What I've hated is it tends to be for the last sort of 10, 15 years, whenever Spurs bring a young player through, they always tend to be a fullback or a sideways passing midfielder. Yeah. We never bring through like the Marcus Edwards that will get on the ball and we all go, oh, this is brilliant. What a tricky winger.
Marcus Edwards now. Just someone with a bit of flair about them.
Yeah.
He might lose the ball a bit. He might be a bit weak in possession, but when he gets the ball, he's going to drive at someone. We need that. We need that spark of someone to come on. And it's not going to come from someone like Giovanni Lo Celso, is it? Because they haven't shown it in 4 years since they've been here.
Well, this is the thing. I think, when I heard throughout the summer, a lot of people go, give Ndombele another chance and Lo Celso another chance and all this. I'm thinking, well, we've seen nothing from them for 4 years.
Put a youth team player. Put someone that cares in.
Right. Exactly. And someone, you know what?
A bit. If
it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But we've seen Ndombele and Lo Celso for years. That's not worked. They're still on our payroll. I don't know. Any chance have you seen is Brian Hill? I know he's in full training. Are we expecting to see anything of Brian Hill this weekend?
Yeah. I hope he's fit. But again, he seems like another one with severe, he doesn't want to play. He wants to play in Spain. He's got qualities, Brian Hill. I don't know what those qualities are yet, but he looked like a really decent player for Seville last year. And we can unlock it because we play a system that suits him more. Probably not. It's a bit too physical a league. I've said it every single week. Send him to the Wimpy for a Brown Derby and put some weight on him. He has to put some weight on. He's thinner than me. That's something not to be, what's it called? Good. He's thinner than me.
But the thing is, Ben, in the right formation, in the right system, I think you can get away with it. If you move as a team that move the ball quickly, that keep the ball, I think you can get away with it. I think the problem is when you are playing a counter-attacking style of football, it is about pace and power. I think at the moment we're playing a style of football where we keep the ball quite a lot. And he, to me, is one that can ride tackles.
Yeah. But tidy player as well. Tidy player, good with both feet.
He is. I mean, is there a position for him? Look, I've been well documented on this. I've not been impressed by any of our wingers, if I'm brutally honest, for a long time now. So for me, why can't he stake a claim? Why can't we have him out on the left? And you know what? It's different. All right, he doesn't get to the byline and beat a man, but you know what? He cuts inside. Plays the 1-2, because that's the thing with me. When I watch the right-hand side, Kulu, I've got no problem with him cutting inside, but give and go. Go inside and then go again. What we do is we give
the ball inside and then drive through the ball.
Right, but we don't. We give the ball and then stop. So, look, could it work? I don't know. I'm excited to see it. He's technically, like you said, he's a Spanish footballer, right? That's what he's a Spanish footballer.
He showed it against Crystal Palace in a physical side last year. Again, when he made those two great assists for the man that shall not be named and a few of the other players. He showed he's got ability, Brian Hill. Maybe if he's fit enough, throw him in. Put him left wing. put Richarlison in the centre and tell him to go past your man and cross the ball in.
Big. Just quickly, EAA, big up to you, my man. Well done. Been away for a while. The weekly Fantasy League reminder. Thank you. I know I'll forget this afternoon as well. Just got a new job with a great salary to do with my masters this year, but still catching your content. Listen, living the dream, mate. Listen, congrats on the new job, and the fact that it's to do with what you studied is good. Doesn't happen a lot in life, and a good salary to go with it. So congratulations to you. Another one as well that keeps getting overlooked. Everyone keeps talking about Yannick Santiago. Everyone keeps talking about Jamie Donnelly and Valise, and there is Sumsop Bell that we went and got from Chelsea, right? Yeah. So we've got some youngsters there. It's just, can we blood them in? If you can't do it, if you're going to do it in the league, if you can't do it against, no disrespect, Luton, when can you do it?
Got to do it. We've got to do it. These next 3 games should be 9 points. I know there are no easy games in the Premier League, and football isn't played on paper, it's played on grass. We should beat these 3 teams. We should absolutely get through all these teams. Not easily, but we should get through them, and that should be a good setup from November. And that's what I'm thinking. We need to go for it, because we are good enough to do enough. But good enough to do enough? That's terrible English. We're good enough to do it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Cantab said, even at 3-0 up, bring on several players from the bench. Listen, I think depending on how the games go, and even if it's 1-1, it could be a chance where you go, right, Santiago, go and make a name for yourself.
Yeah.
I think what we equate to young players is, if this young player plays, you've got more chance of losing. But I think if they're in the forward areas, you've got a long way to go between losing the ball in the final third and the ball going in your own goal. So I'm all for it. I want to see some youngsters play. I'm not saying all 3 should start, 3 or 4 should start, but I would love our lineup tomorrow to be Santiago, Son, and Kulu. I'd love to see a kid get a chance. Let's have a look at some of the comments, shall we? Where are we? First off, Nana Hotspur with a super chat. Big up to you, Nana Hotspur. As said, would absolutely love to see the kids get a go. Yes. Do you know what? I want to see the kids get a go before they're not kids anymore. Before they become, let's be honest, Harvey White.
Yeah.
Right? Before they become Marcus Edwards. And before you know it, we're all talking about them. Next thing you know, they're being sold far and wide, and we don't get to see them. So big up to you, Nana. I completely agree with you there. Big up. Keep smashing the like. And as I said, we're 6 away from 11,500. Slowest subscriber week in the history of my YouTube. Perchy. Do you know Perchy? You heard of this guy?
I think so. He's disappeared, I think.
Yeah, he's not feeling very well, but I think you took his place in the squad.
Yeah.
And said, question, do you go as strong as possible versus Luton, or do you give the likes of Valise an opportunity? So kind of what we've just been talking about, Ben. Yeah. We weren't talking about Valise, but they've bought Valise in for, I think it was like 14 million, something like that. I don't know, maybe what that was. Yeah. He's played first team football.
In Argentina. Is it? He played in Argentina.
Yeah, in Argentina. So he's played first team men's football.
It's a difficult league to play in as well.
Yeah. Not easy, because those defenders are all shirt pulling. And why not give him a go? Why not put him? Why not put him in?
Yeah, he could do it. He's a strong boy. He's a big, strong boy. He's good at heading. But if you play a Valise, you've got to play players that can cross the ball. You have to. Because this is what we're doing. We're playing Richarlison and Valise, and we don't cross the ball. We say, "Oh, look how awful they are." We're playing the wrong pieces of the puzzle. Richarlison is not a good footballer, but he is good with his head. So put a Perisic next to him when you've got him, and say, "Cross the ball into him," because he's good in those split seconds. Oh, bang, back of the net. He's good at that. So if you play a Valise, put people on that can cross the ball. If you put Valise in, make Porro right wing and play Emerson Royale at right back. So you say, right, Porro, you're at the right wing, cross the ball. Don't think about anything else. Cross the ball. Make it difficult.
Do you know what? It really astounds me that in 2023, the number of pro footballers that can't cross a football. If I'm brutally honest, it's madness. Everyone back in the day used to be able to cross a ball.
Yeah.
Thank you to the one person that did subscribe. We're now only 5 away from 11,500. So if you want to subscribe, do. If you don't, don't. Big up, Nick. We'll go to a couple of questions in a minute. Big up, Nick. Hope you're well, Barry, Nick, whatever we want to call you today. Barry Some Royal. Good morning, wonderful people. Just need 3 points. It won't be easy. Yeah, look, Ben, I think the key thing here is you've got to put the points on the board early doors before the injuries really hit home. Yeah. And, we touched upon it yesterday on the show. December, we've got, at the moment, we've got 3 games in October, which is tomorrow, and then Fulham and Palace at the end of the month. We've got 3 games in November. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And then December is 7
games, isn't it? Yeah.
That's going to test the squad, right? That's going to test the squad. 7. So for me, you've got to make the points against Luton, Fulham, Palace. Yeah. That's where you've got to build up some momentum, right?
December is when you start spattering. And we need to try new things, because this is why managers like Pep Guardiola experiment early in the season, because you experiment against teams like what I would really like, if he's fit, I would love to see a front 3 of Brian Hill, Richarlison and Porro, just fit, and then bring Kulusevski into that insight, because against a low block team like a Luton Town, Sarr isn't going to help you, because he can try and he's not going to be running at people, because what Sarr does is get the ball run past people, because he's powerful, he's athletic, he's pacey. They're going to have 2 banks. What you're going to need is someone with a bit of intricacy, someone that can hold on to the ball well, someone that can pass the ball. So maybe Maddison and Kulusevski is the 2 number 8s, and maybe drop Basuma back a bit. I think that could really work. Be a bit intricate and just say pace, pace, pace. Get them facing their goal.
I'd love that, Ben. It's my biggest criticism of the team at the moment is that there's no pace out wide. Yeah. It's there's no pace there's no flair. And at the moment, what we've got is steady Eddies who play out there. Yeah. And then you're just hoping that Maddison can feed Sonny every single time. And while it works, Yeah. But teams will wise up to that. Yeah. Good morning, Strasbourg Steve. I hope you're well, my man. Good morning, Strasbourg Steve from Ben as well, I'm guessing. Yeah. Unfortunately not. I'm out for a friend's birthday tonight, which is always good fun when you don't drink. But absolutely enjoy your watch along for Strasbourg. Yeah. Thanks, Perchy, for that question. Kuva, so big up, Savva. Are you looking forward to the 7-3 tomorrow, or on our way to the league title, or what? Yeah. Kuva? Yeah, I do feel. I know Kuva's joking, but I put a poll out, Ben, asking people how many goals they'll think we'll score versus Luton. And the options were 0, 1 to 2, 3 to 4, or 5+. Yeah. 7% of the people think we won't score a goal. Yeah. 44% think we'll get between 1 and 2. Yeah. 42% think we'll get 3 or 4, and 8%, the Couvenites we'll call them, think we're going to get 5+. Can you see us getting 5+?
No, not against the low block. We've shown this year that we're not good against them. I know Kuva said to me earlier on my show on TOT that Luton do actually try and play some football. They do try and play football, but I think against the big boy, I think they will play low block. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the thing we've been talking about all week, isn't it? It's about low blocks. And, it's one of those games, I think, if you score nice and early, the floodgates could open. Yeah. But it's one of those things, the complete opposite. If you don't grab a goal in that first half, it starts to become that panic mode and that kind of, let's just loft balls into the box. And that is what they'll like, right, Luton? That's what their centre-halves will want. Balls into the box.
Big, tall centre-halves. That's what they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Big up, Kuva. By the way, there were 2 comments here, both saying the same thing. George, LOA, and Video Complete Sofiane have both asked for the score prediction. Ben, off the top of your head, what are you going to give me for a score prediction in this game?
Let's be positive and say 3-0.
3-0? Yeah. Yeah, I was going to go with 2-0 or 3-1. I don't think it's going to be a massacre. But I do think we're going to have about 75% of the football. And it will just be about, have we got enough to penetrate them, right?
Yeah,
oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, I muted myself because I'm bringing the chat up. But
okay,
it's I think we're going to have too much of them. I think this is going to be too much for Luton. We'll see. But sometimes being a real underdog galvanizes a team. So we'll have to see. But I think we will have too much of them. I think this style of football we play, I think it will tire them out quickly. And I think we'll be able to pick them apart in that second half. It's whether we start slow. We have to start quickly and get a goal in early. Otherwise, they could settle in and they could. And it's a difficult one to call, but I think we have too much.
I want to talk about, by the way, getting any other questions you've got, and we'll start them and have that chat for the next half an hour, 45 minutes. I want to talk about Maddison and Son. Obviously, Maddison is our creative force. Son is our goal scorer.
Yeah.
Both have been playing with Knox. We know that. At what point, though, does it get to the stage where it's like, hang on, we can't just keep playing these two for 90 minutes week in, week out? Do you think we'll get to that stage? Do you think we'll get a respite from that during the international period? Or do you think they're just going to be rinsed by their international managers and the injuries will get worse?
I mean, we know Sonny. We know if Jurgen Klinsmann did what he does as a Spurs legend, he wouldn't play him at all because he would know these two games he's playing are two friendlies against Tunisia and Vietnam. Vietnam being a very physical team and being very low down the rankings, which is there's no disrespect for them. That is where they are as a footballing side. He shouldn't be playing against a physical side in a friendly because they've got World Cup qualifiers in November. Rest your big players. You don't need them to play every game. I know he's a money spinner for them. He's a money spinner for everyone connected with Sonny. And we're all going to need him. We're all going to need him. But he doesn't need to do on a 30-hour round trip to the Far East. He doesn't need to do it.
Yeah.
Save him. He's got a very difficult injury to heal, which takes 3 weeks to heal fully. Let him rest a bit. Let him rest.
Yeah. On this point, Ronnie has said, just bam, score 2-3 in the first half and rest Sonny and Maddison. I do feel like we're talking like we're Man City these days.
Yeah.
Just score 2-3 really quickly. I just don't think it's that simple. But in some ways, I don't disagree with you in theory, but the execution's different. Yeah, I mean, James Maddison is, for me, he is the linchpin of the team.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Romero and Van de Ven aren't good. I'm not saying Udogi's not been good and Porro, Basuma, Sarr. I genuinely am worried about that position, though. Now, what a lot of people will say is like what we're seeing here. Thank you. I'll pass that on. Abe said, I really want to see Kulu in the 10 role. It might not work, but it might work. Lots of people talk about this, Kulu in the 10 role.
Yeah.
Where are you at with Kulu in a 10? I'll give my
one of the things that I'm going to compare this to being a guitar player. A lot of guitar players, they get stuck in a rut because they play the same thing over and over again. And I think that's where Kulusevski in, because he does the same thing every time. If we put him to the left of a 10 role, we play 4-3-3, we put him to the left side in that left-sided 10 role, I think that could be revelationary for him because he has to do other things. He's got to use different techniques. He's got to use different muscle memory. I think it could be really good to get him out of this rut of just being the Swedish Andros Townsend, get the ball on the wide right, drift inside, try and float a ball in or try and shoot. We've got to get him to do other things because he's getting boring from a spectator's point of view and he's getting easy to mark from a defender's point of view because you're thinking, this boy doesn't use his right foot. Send him inside to a load of players. Flood the midfield, send him inside. If we put him in that number 10 role, firstly, he'll be able to do more things because he'll be able to pass left and he'll be able to pass right because he'll be able to see both things, especially if there's space being created on that right-hand side. But I think and that's why I'd like to see him and Maddison in that advanced 8 role. so they can work together and they can interchange. I think that'd be a great idea.
So him and Maddison in the advanced 8 role together with
Basuma behind them.
With just Basuma behind them. Okay, so you reckon a game like tomorrow is the type of game where that could work?
Yeah, I think so, because I think they're going to flood midfield in their defence. I think we can play Emerson Royale at right back and let those three be the defenders. Let a doggy go up the pitch. Let a doggy become more of a winger and just go forward and try and stretch that midfield and that defence is what I'd like to see.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you again in theory. For me, everyone knows my opinion. I'm not sold on Kulusevski at all, if I'm brutally honest. For me, a very safe sideways footballer that for nearly a year and a half now hasn't really done anything for me. But I'm not adverse to seeing people tried in new positions. I think the difficulty is I don't look at him and think winger. Do you know what I mean? I don't think anything about his game screams, yeah, I'm a winger. But I think the difficulty will be if Ange doesn't want to remove, for example, what you've just said, doesn't want to remove Sarr, then it's going to be very difficult when we're playing one game a week, for him to get that opportunity in front of Maddison. Because let's be honest, if both are fit, you're never picking Kulu over Maddison in the 10, are you?
Of course. That's why I think they could work really well together, because there's one thing Kulusevski does have. He does think quickly. When he gets into that sort of he's been there twice this season, once against Bournemouth and once against Sheffield United. If you give him the ball to finish, he finishes his dinner. He's very decent at finishing. So getting closer, it's one of the things we said about Sonny playing on the left. He wasn't doing the business on the left. Put him closer to goal, which is what he's good at. Put Kulusevski closer to goal because he's good at finishing. When he's in that inside number 10 role, he finishes his dinner. He's very accurate with his shots. Get him there. Get him playing more of the things he's good at.
Yeah, no. Listen, I do agree with you. I'd like to see that. I don't think he's a winger, but if he's going to be a winger, I at least want to see him on the left where it's natural.
Yeah.
You know, people keep saying what I like is that anytime you criticize a player, people go, "Oh, you don't understand Ange ball." So, oh, come on, listen, Ange didn't invent this. Yeah, we've seen managers play these formations before. For me,
Phil Nicholson invented it in the 50s.
Well, there you go. So it's not Ange ball. I'm all for players cutting in. By the way, I'm not averse. When people say, "Oh, it's his style of play," it can't be the only style of play. Yeah. As a wide man, you have to give, whether this is Son, Kulu, Richarlison, Solomon, you have to give your fullback something to think about. The moment your fullback knows what you are doing every time, they've won. Yeah. And Solomon, this is the thing. I just wish Solomon was a bit better. I like Solomon. He's okay, right? He's a squad player.
He's a good player off the bench. As a good squad, he's a very decent squad player.
He is. But what you get with him is you don't know whether he's going to cut inside or take his man on the outside. Now, as a fullback, I'd rather play against Kulu than I would Solomon. I'd rather play against Richarlison than I would Solomon. But for me, I still think we need a proper winger on one of the wings.
Like a Neto, or not to say we can assign them in the vein of a Grealish, a Doku, a Foden, someone that's a bit tricky, someone that's got a bag of tricks to them, someone that can create some space for other people. Because that's what wingers really meant, as well as cross the ball. They're meant to create a bit of space. Just someone a bit inventive.
Do you know what? And by the way, yes, you are. You're the cult leader, Kuva. You're the cult leader. By the way, I do not like these smoothies. Look, I think big up Ren, our internet pal. Big up to you out there. Hope you are well. And yeah, Kuva Bear is starting a cult. Everyone joining the
cult. It's been in the cult for years.
Yeah. Look, for me, what I think is, what are we talking about wingers? It's like somebody said to me yesterday, "Oh, you don't like Kulu, but you like Grealish, who is the same."
Yeah.
And what I said is, there's a huge difference between Kulu and Grealish. Grealish, for one, when he gets the ball up top of the pitch, he'll do his level best to retain the ball. He doesn't just go 2 yards inside. He gets the ball. He'll wait for 3 or 4 players to be around him. He'll go to the byline. He'll try and win the foul. but he also drives in a lot. You watch Grealish, he'll play the 1-2 and he'll drive into the box a lot. Is he a natural goal scorer? No.
Yeah.
Right? But there's a reason why Pep Guardiola plays him week in, week out.
Yeah.
I just feel this isn't about Kulu, by the way. I want to bash Kulu. This is all of our wingers for me. Yeah. I don't think any of them I look at and go, oh, yeah, you're going to have a great game today. They might grab the odd goal. I'm not saying Kulu won't pop up with a goal tomorrow because you know what football fans are like. Someone grabs a goal and it's, oh, you're in the mud because they scored. I think we do. You're right. We need a Grealish. We need a Neto. We need a Doku. We need a Diaby, a Zaniolo, who's at Brighton, a Matoma, a Solly March. We need someone that drives with the ball and scares the crap.
Yeah, I see Kulusevski more as a secondary striker because where did he play at Juventus in his last season with Ronaldo? Behind Ronaldo, Coppa Italia, when he played 83 minutes of the game, I think, when I looked it up. He played 83 minutes and they won the game. He played behind Ronaldo as that auxiliary striker, which is why last night I sort of likened his physical attributes to someone like a Teddy Sheringham. That's where Teddy Sheringham used to play, behind the striker. He'd get the ball, make space, quicken the head, which is why you need quick wingers to create that space for someone like a Dejan Kulusevski. He doesn't necessarily have that pace. We need some pacey wingers. We need some pacey wingers because pace is good. I know I was called pace merchant on here quite a lot and on other shows. You need pacey wingers. Pacey wingers are good.
At least one of them. At least one of them's got to have pace. You can't. I don't think you can have two the same.
Yeah,
I don't think you can have two doing the same job.
You need different tools for a different job. You need.
I agree.
You need an espresso machine. You need a V60, a filter coffee machine. You need different things to your arsenal. You need loads of tricks.
Yeah. So I'm going to disagree, Ren. Sorry, for me, wingers shouldn't just be holding a ball up. Sorry, just for me. When we say we like his strength and ability to hold the ball up, when we hold the ball up, it sometimes slows down attacks. Yeah. For me, whoever plays on the other side as well, I'm watching it and just thinking, look how much grass these wingers have got to run into. Like run. I get it. If you've got a game plan, stick to it. But sometimes there's moments in football games where you've got to be instinctive, right? There's grass. I'm going to run into it. We're on a counter attack. Not right. Receive the ball. Stop. As I've said before, when wingers do this, you could get anyone from the youth team to do that job. Yeah. You could get any winger in the world to do that job comfortably. It's the wingers that make a difference, that make the difference, that change games for me. Just quickly go to some comments. Shazbal Steve has said Kulusevski as a narrow 10 could work. Yeah. Robert Wilson has said, we know we will dominate possession against Luton as long as we win. Luton Dan has said, when I see Kulu was 23, I had to double check as he runs like a 40-year-old and think his knees are shot. Yep. Epistemic has said, Steve, I hope you've recovered from your nugget binge. Joseph Tyler said, definitely need cover for Maddison if he gets injured. Team would lose creativity. Absolutely. 123 Bus has said the Couva train to the league title. And Stockport director said, as a neutral, Kulu is not composed on the ball to play attacking midfield. Yeah. He'll lose the ball more than you can imagine. Now, this is an interesting point. This is why I think people would probably want to see it, Stockport direct. I love that name, by the way. Yeah. I don't think he's cut out for that. If I'm brutally honest, I don't think he's got the speed of Full. Yeah.
I actually disagree with you. I think he's actually very quick thinking. I just think he's stuck in a rut playing in that position where he does the same thing. That's why I say moving completely out of his comfort zone, see what he can do. And then I'll agree with you. If he can't do it anywhere else, then take him out of that rut.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to disagree on this one. I feel like you watch Maddison, you watch Odegaard, right? Proper number 10s. They're aware of what's around them. They move the ball very quickly, right foot, left foot. They get about the pitch. My worry is what I've seen in this formation is if you watch James Maddison, we call him a number 10, right?
He's everywhere.
He's everywhere. He'll come out to the right. He'll come out to the left. I don't think Kulu's got that in his game. But listen, we'll see. I'd rather see it
He's good
than
at ball
seeing him on the
retention.
right.
He's good at ball retention, and apparently he's got very decent progressive passes this year. He's one of the top 5 in the league at progressive passes completed. So I think he could be that foil to Maddison. Maddison being the guy that roams, and Kulusevski that's more of a static sort of number 8 role that's going to get the ball and drive up the pitch, and then leave it to a pacey winger to create space for him. I think he could do well there, personally.
Yeah. Absolutely. Rayan, big up to you. By the way, I've got some questions stored. We'll come to those in a minute. Rayan has said Bowen and Eze have 1 year left.
Get both of those guys in. I'd love those two.
Jared Bowen, for me, is the perfect modern day wide man.
Yeah.
Works his socks off coming back. But when he gets the ball driving forward, how many times you see Bowen go down that line, drive into the box and bury it? Yeah. And for me, let's just have a quick look. So I looked at these last night. So if we look at Jared Bowen, right? Where are West Ham? Oh, they're 7th. I was looking down the bottom of the table to find them to click on him, and they're not down there. Jared Bowen, already this season, 5 goals and 1 assist from 7 games. And in the last 2 seasons, he's got 19 Premier League goals and 16 Premier League assists. So that means in the last in the last 80 Premier League games, he has got 41 goal and assist contributions in his last 80 games playing for West Ham. I'm not going to apologise for this, by the way, Ben. That's me. That's my type of player. That's my winger. Yeah, that's me.
I agree with you. I like players that get you off your seat. Just from a spectator point of view, Aaron Lennon used to do it well. Wasn't the greatest in the final third, but when he got the ball, things happened. He caused terror. As soon as he got the ball, even this is one of Jacob's favourite players, Mr. Adama Traore. When he gets the ball on the wing and he starts driving at people, people are terrified at his pace and his power. We need someone like that. We need someone that's gonna create absolute mayhem. And I'd love to have Jared Bowen. He's never coming to Tottenham. Especially from West Ham. If he goes anywhere, it'll be to an Arsenal or to a Man City or a United. He's not coming to Tottenham. But Pedro Neto could be someone we could get him. We could get a Jota from that I can't remember what the Saudi Arabian team.
Yeah. I like different profiles of players. By the way, R709, don't get me started. This is the guy I wanted. I watch a lot of the German league. I'll tell you another player that's going to do really well from there is a player who was playing for Burnley last season. Nathan Teller has gone and he's almost replaced Diaby at Leverkusen. Another winger, speed, trickery, goals. Listen, I just think we need to upgrade. That's just me. Sorry, Ren, right, mixed signals. Cool. Glad we got that sorted out. Someone said Kulu is just so frustrating, but he's good, but just not out wide.
I think he's in the wrong position. That's why Juventus played him as a number 10 behind Ronaldo. And when they got when Chiesa and Co started performing, he went out the team. Again, Kate, context. Bring up the picture, Savva. Context.
I don't know what you mean. Context and what?
Context and consistency. Cheers.
Context and consistency.
Context and consistency.
We got people asking for Lo Celso to come back. I don't really care, but I'll be honest, I've seen enough in the 4 years for him playing for Spurs and for Villarreal that I was a bit like, nah, he's okay, doesn't do enough for me. Another safe player.
If this man plays for Argentina in the international break, I would send him so far to the moon. It would be you'd miss it. I'd just fire him at the moon. Just get rid of him. He's not played in 4 weeks. If he goes and plays an entire game for Argentina and gets injured, let's go. Send him.
Yeah, I agree. Let's go through a few comments before we go to some questions. Savva, what did you think of? I've seen this guy play before. Again, I like him. Raw, but I like him. I think he's got something about him. I like wingers like that. I like it when they're different. I cannot understand how anyone plays as a winger in world football, in any level of football, and doesn't want to beat their man. I just don't get it. Liam said Bowen is class. Neto has been looking lethal too, back to his pre-injury best. Lennon was pony, said Mitch Groves.
No, he took prime Patrice Evra to the cleaners in that final. He absolutely rinsed him. He was go on.
In the country that you like. Anyone remember when Aaron Lennon in Milan, when he was running at his bloke and he skipped past him, pulled it back, and big Peter Crouch whipped it in to beat Milan 1-0. That is what I want to see from one of our wingers just once. Just once.
I don't think Brendan Johnson can do that. He's got the pace off. I don't know necessarily if he's a good ball carrier. We need an Eze or an Elise. Someone's going to get the ball, low centre of gravity, pace, power, going to get by someone and just, again, cause mayhem. Yeah.
No, I agree with you. Richard has said, isn't that why I bought Johnson? I'll be interested to see. For me, I think this was a safe signing, if I'm brutally honest. For me, I think that he'll be a brilliant player coming off the bench to cause havoc in the last 15, 20. Let's see how effective he is in 90 minutes of games. I'm not having a go at him. We've seen him start one game. And even then, I thought he was played on the wrong side. He's not a left winger. Mikal, absolutely. This is a player. This is a player. See, what will happen, Mikal, for me is when some of our fans watch a player like this play, when they watch a Bowen play, if they played in our team, I think then people would realise what I'm saying about Kulu and how ineffective I think he is. But, hey, I get it. People like to back their own, which is good. Kulu works hard. I think that's a prerequisite for every footballer. Feeling wonky said Aaron Lennon had jazz hands when he ran.
Yes, he did.
Mr. Post Office said Bowen would be the perfect Saka backup for me. I think we have a bit of a Kane issue, though. Everyone knows their role is the backup. Yeah, possibly. I think Bowen's a very underrated player.
I think Bowen would challenge Saka. I think Bowen's a hell of a player. I really like Bowen as a player. I think he's quality.
Yeah, I agree with you. Kate having another dig. So, excuse me, Ben, the context is you said he's a brilliant footballing brain like Teddy. That's mind-boggling.
One, Kate, because I didn't say he has got a brilliant footballing brain. I think he's got a good footballing brain. Which is why he played for Juventus of all teams. He played for Juventus. You don't sign players for Juventus if they're crap. He fell out of love with the thing.
Kate is just stirring. She's stirring again, Ben.
Oh, she's doing the Savva to me. She's basically making me Savva.
Jimmy Costco said plenty of training videos of Sonny the last couple of days. Clear he will start against Luton. Yeah. Thankfully, don't care if he's carrying a knock. He can go to career carrying it. Oh, that's a bold last sentence. Any player that plays with a knock, the risk of that knock turning into 3 months out, I completely care about that. I completely listen. I think what I would say is this. If Spurs are that desperate that Sonny has to play with a knock, I'm not saying he does, but if he's got a knock, that shows you how far we are not in our development. Before anyone starts talking to me about that's how desperate we need to be. But Phil Pearce said, I love Kulu, but he needs to ensure he gets more end product. I don't know. When people say I love Kulu, for what? Like, for me, he's a steady Eddie. Like, I love Basuma. That's a player. I love Madison, Son. Van der Right. Yeah, I love those players that are powerful, do stuff every game. I don't love Kulu. But, Ben, you know me. I'm not contradictory. I said in the summer I wouldn't buy him. I said I wouldn't have bought him. And then he went and bought another 2 wingers after that. So, absolutely, Tony. The German league has got loads of good players. Do you know what? Watch Europe the last few nights. There are good players everywhere, but English fans tend to belittle them because we don't know them.
We tend to only look at players from the Premier League and think, oh, there are good players everywhere. Udogie, people said, oh, should we really be bringing Udogie in as a 20-year-old left back? Maybe we can get someone from the Premier League. Someone that, again, the mythical words, Premier League proven. Udogie's come straight into the team, been one of our best players this year. When Bentancur came in, was one of our best players. Never played in the Premier League. another one, Pedro Porro is showing that being Premier League proven doesn't necessarily help you because he was crap last year, but look how good he is this year.
Yeah.
Never played a single minute of Premier League football before this year. He's come in and been our best centre-back.
Yeah.
Romero's shown his quality, wasn't Premier League proven before. It's you don't have to play in the Premier League. There are other leagues. There are other top 5 leagues that are very good. We seem to think that every league is a farmers' league, which is again,
it's disrespectful.
Yeah,
it's disrespectful.
And
look at Marseille v Brighton last night.
Yeah.
Look how that team held Aston Villa last night. Yeah. Look at Galatasaray beating Man United.
Yeah.
Right. You know, we're very, very quick in this country.
The Premier League is more of a farmers' league than those leagues because every year we sit round in our panel and say, who's going to win the league this year, Savva? And we all say the same thing. Manchester City. And it's guaranteed. It's guaranteed that they're going to win the league almost. So we're a farmers' league as well. We're all farmers' leagues. Except one farmers' league is producing corn, one is producing apples, one is producing this. Different types of farmers, everyone.
Yeah, I agree. A couple more comments before we go to some questions. Ray Anna said, Savva, what do you think of Kubo from Sociedad? Raw, very talented. This is my type of player. Pulls right, pulls left, drops deep, wants to get on the ball, wants to drive at people.
Yeah.
Real Sociedad, for me, I would go and raid Real Sociedad if I was, forget if I'm Tottenham, if I'm any team.
Yeah.
Mendes, Marino, Zubamendi, Kubo, Berentexia on the other wing.
Yeah.
I'd take all of them. all. They've got some really good technical players that move the ball quickly. Yeah. They're sharp. I'd take all of them. And I'd take Lenormand at centre-half as well.
Yeah.
And Traore at left-back. So they've got some good players. They've got some really good players.
There are good players playing football all over the world.
Yeah.
There are good footballers, come to think of it.
Yeah. My lord, Sekulu is currently 4th in the Premier League for key passes, 2nd for long passes received. I mean, for progressive passes received. Received doesn't mean anything. 3rd in the Premier League for passes in the penalty area. 4th in the Premier League for shot creating action. 2nd in the Premier League touches in opponent box. I don't care. As a winger, as a fullback, I'd love to play against him.
Another reason why he should be central rather than as a winger, because he could increase those numbers if he was in a place where he could receive the ball more and drive forward with the ball. I think he suits being in that role because he's good at retaining the ball and he's good at holding on to the ball. When you're a winger, you don't necessarily need to hold on to the ball. You need to create mayhem, havoc, stretch the defence.
He's 1st in the Premier League for carries in the penalty area. Sorry, when did this turn American? Like, what has gone on? Listen, I'm not knocking America, by the way, but their sport is very, progressive carries in the penalty area. I hardly ever see Kulusevski in the penalty area. Sorry, I'm not buying into all. Sorry, not buying into all that.
I get the stats. The stats work it out, but it doesn't really change anything.
No.
It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change. Like, if he was central, I would agree with you. If he was playing centrally, I would say, yeah, that's a good stat. But the problem is he's playing as a winger, so he's never really getting. Yeah, he needs to play in the centre.
Absolutely. This is it. As a winger, how many Daniel E? As a winger, how many times does he scare his fullback a game? Yeah. There's the question. How many times? As a fullback, I want to come off that pitch and go, well, that was all right today. He just cut inside. Yeah. He just cut inside. Passing stats as well. I see this used a lot. So-and-so had 98 passes and 97% of those passes reached their man. Well, yeah, if you play the ball 5 yards enough, you are going to complete every pass you make.
It's what Harry Winks used to do. Pass it sideways and get a completed pass. It was a pass merchant. It was a stat merchant.
Too many stats. We're trying to turn this into sports like baseball, American football. I don't need all those stats to tell me that as a winger, he's underwhelming. But I don't want to go into I don't really want to go into
statistics.
That deep. Ryan has said to us, how many games will we win in the next 3 games? I think the Palace game is difficult. So, Ben, we've got Luton away, Fulham at home, Palace away. So 2 away games.
9 points. 9 points on the board.
Even with Palace away, difficult team, well organised.
I think it should be 9 points. They're a decent team, but we've got too much for them going forward. I think we have to get 9 points.
Absolutely. By the way, Perchy, absolutely. We're literally making up stats now for stats' sake. It's just, I really don't get it. When did these people stop being able to use these to tell them what a good footballer was? How do you think scouts in the modern, how do you think Brian Clough scouted people?
Yeah.
I could have picked anyone there. How do you think Brian Clough scouted people? He wasn't scouting them based on progressive carries and passes. It was, I like that guy. He can do what I need him to do. I don't understand.
When I used to speak with Mr. Capello back in the day when I was a youth, and I talked to him about footballers, I'd say, "What do you think of Gareth Bale?" And he just nod at me and go, "Good player. That's all you need to know." He didn't say, well, probably because Fabio Capello probably wouldn't rat off, "Oh, he's got X amount of progressive carries in the penalty area per 85 minutes." I'm like, no, good player. Good player.
I agree. When I was growing up, I didn't need any stats to tell me that Paul Gascoigne was one of the best players in the world.
Yeah.
Right? When I was growing up, I didn't need stats to tell me that Gary Lineker was a proven goal scorer. I didn't need to know. Like, okay, let me break it down for you. When people break down stats now on Erling Haaland, all the stat that matters is the guy scores goals. Right? Nothing else matters. And Alan Shearer said this last year on Match of the Day. One of the Match of the Days, Alan Shearer turned around and said, Alan Shearer turned around. They said, "Oh, Aaron, look at all these stats of this player." And it was, I can't remember if it was Kane or Haaland, one of them. And it was all these stats. And Alan Shearer turned around and went, "I would have been judged terribly. In my day, I didn't do that, or that. But you know what I did do? I did put the ball in the net." And this is why now so many fans are like, stats. No, my lord.
I don't understand
sorry.
Comparing. Yeah.
Sorry. People don't like stats. They don't like stats. For me, a couple of stats work. If I'm a goal scorer, how many goals have I scored? Right? How many assists have I got as a creative midfielder and a winger? Cool. I don't need to know how many progressive carries in the penalty area that are going. That is what you worry about if you work in a data team for a football club. We're football fans. Why do you worry about that?
When I care more, if I'm talking about wingers, for example, I care more about the heat map than I do about the stats because I want to see where they've been running. I want to see them. I want to see lower down the pitch. I want to see more of that sort of the yellowy orange color. But near the byline, I want to see that being red. So I want to see a winger beat his fullback and whip a ball in the box. That's what I want to see a winger do. That's what I want to see.
For example, right, if I look at the Premier League top goal scorer charts right now, right, Haaland has 8, Son has 6, Bowen has 5.
Yeah.
Why do I need to look at any other stat for these players at the moment? Why would I need to look at how many progressive passes Erling Haaland's received and touches in the box? The guy's got 8 goals in 7 Premier League games. That's all I need to know, right? Honestly, I said to you guys yesterday in the group chat, right? Listen, you know me, I'm quite transparent, right? Yeah. I said to you that I'm losing the love for football a lot because because we get people like this, because we get people that are like, I disagree with stats in general because we've never needed them. And now all of a sudden, football fans
find what you see. They give you, you see that, which creates half the circle, and then the stat gives you the rest of the circle. You need everything. You need to see everything. You need roundness of opinion. They help make up an opinion. If you see that and you think, let's have a look at that, it provides the context of what you were thinking.
But it's like, I'll tell you what, this is interesting. As funny as this is, this is interesting. When I see people talk about defenders' heading stats, like you could look at stats of, oh my God, this player's got the most clearances in the league. Okay, right. I'm not talking about Maguire, by the way. I'm just saying X player, let's call him Jones. I don't know. Centre half called Tom Jones, right? Tom Jones has got the most headed clearances and the most interceptions in the Premier League. Does that automatically make him the best defender? Or does that mean that his team concede up the most crosses and give away the most balls in transition, and therefore he's got to make interceptions. There's huge different things to this. If you watch someone like Diaz maybe and Vardio, these guys playing a brilliant Man City team that won't give away as many chances as anyone else. So their tackling stats, Ben, their heading stats, their clearance stats probably won't be as much as everyone else because they're not in the same team. It's like, sorry, I'm so passionate about this. It's like when I see people go, okay, which one of these 4 midfielders? And you get these YouTube channels that want to break down every stat. Cool. Okay, cool. Problem with doing that is if I pick a player from Wolves, a player from who's a defensive team, a player from Wolves, a player from Sheffield United, a player from Man City, and a player from Chelsea, a centre mid for each of those teams. All 4 of those teams play a different style of football, right? So the passing stats are going to be very, very different from a Man City midfielder to a Sheffield United midfielder. The tackling is going to be different from a Man City midfielder to a Sheffield United midfielder because the Sheffield United midfielder is working harder. Right? I could keep going with that all day long. Unless you are doing like for like, all of this progressive ball carries, this, that, the other, it's good, but when that is the founding point of your stat on on your opinion of a player, I don't know. Football's dying. Football's dying. It's becoming too. You used the word the other day. It wasn't robotic. It's becoming too surgical. That's the word. It's becoming too surgical. Right. When we watched the game the other night, when I watched Real Sociedad the other night, I turned around to Steve and went, God, this Mendes guy is really good on the wing. Right? I didn't need to look at the stats after the game to say I'd scout him. That's who I'd be going back to my manager and going, seen this lad, you want to go and watch him. Watch how he beats his man. Watch how he beats him. Watch how he drives to the ball.
We need a bit of old school. I think that's mostly an indictment of the modern world, that we need a bit more of the old school. We do need a bit of. We need a bit of using common sense and using, you know what, he looks a bit dangerous. He looks a bit tasty. Get a scout, look at him. And then if you think, then when you get 2 people to look at him, I'm not really sure about that. Then you can look at the stats and then we can see, okay, I was telling the truth here. You can use the stat to back up an argument, as Perchy said earlier in the chat. Because
I'll tell you what, just quickly, what I want to say is this, right? I'll tell you what, Jimmy, do you remember, depending where everyone lives, who remembers on Soccer AM, every Saturday, they used to have Showboat? Who remembers that?
I remember more the Soccerettes, to be honest, mate.
Fair enough, but do you remember Showboating? Right?
Yeah, I remember.
And they used to show a 1.5 to a 2-minute compilation of people showboating for the weekend. Now, the funny thing about this, and the reason why I bring this up is, the number of times you watched it and went, wow, it's a fantastic piece of skill. Nothing happened the other end. So they do a Cruyff turn, then the ball would go out for a goal kick. Do you know what I mean? They do a few step overs and then their cross would hit the first man. And you're like, okay, this doesn't mean anything. It's brilliant, but nothing's happened. Like nothing's come of it. So, you know, Chris, I agree. I like having football conversations with people that want to talk to me about the player. Not, well, I've been doing some searching and this player's had 93% success. Example, there was a game in pre-season where Papa Sarr gave the ball away loads. Not knocking him. He's young. But what someone turned around was like, do you know what? He had a 96% pass completion rate today. Okay. But maybe the 4 or 5 times he did give the ball away, it was needless and silly. Does that just counteract that now? We're just ignoring that now, are we?
I mean, one of the, I'm using this word a lot, indictment of stats is Ten Hag and his team use a similar system. They put stats in and it brings up players that they think they should buy for their football team. And they needed a striker last year. So they used this system to find the player that's going to press, it's going to hold the ball up. And which player did they get? Wout Weghorst. And I don't know if you watched Man United last year, but Wout Weghorst was awful for Man United last year, which is why they haven't signed him. There's a reason he's not good enough for Manchester United, but the stats told them that he was a good enough player for them to sign.
Yeah.
And he was awful.
Yeah.
You need to be able to watch a footballer. you need to watch the football. If you like the footballer, that's when you say, okay, the stats tell me that what I was seeing is actually the truth, and my eyes aren't lying to me. And then you can start thinking, all right, we'll put in the wheels and start signing this guy.
But do you know what? I didn't mind it at first, Ben. When they used to show some stats after a game. It was like 4 or 5 metrics. Now it's like they have to go down the screen because every expected goals. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Do you mean expected goals? What is this nonsense?
Yeah. I need to have expected coffees as a stat.
It is mad, Ben. Yeah. Expected goals. Like, hang on, let's have a look. So I'll have a look. I'll pick a game from the Premier League last weekend, right? Here you go. Results last weekend. Let's see if they do this on the stats. Here you go. So Luton Town at home to Burnley. Expected goals. Luton Town 1.26. Burnley 0.96. Right? But the score was 2-1 to Burnley. And between them, they had 18, 20, 32 shots.
Yeah.
What on earth is this 0.96? What is that about? Who needs that? It's embarrassing.
Yeah. I'd like to know who invented the stat XG. I bet someone Google it. Who invented XG? Because I think we should all go over to their house and have a conversation with them.
Who invented XG goals in football? Here we go. I've got it. In it, association football, expected goals is a performance metric. Blah 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 blah. This is some debate about the origin of the term. Vic Barnett and his colleague Sarah Hilditch referred to expected goals in their 1993 paper that investigated the effects of artificial pitch surfaces on home team performances. It's now become popular in the mainstream and has more so since 2004. I'm going to say politely now.
Can we send them a letter?
Oh my! But how? Right. If I have 14 shots in a game, how is my XG 0.96?
Yeah.
What is that? Someone in the chat, please explain to me. Maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe I'm an absolute idiot. I did well at school, but maybe I'm an idiot, right? Yeah. XG, what on earth is it?
Yeah.
Who is making this crap up? What is the formula?
Let's send them an open letter and say, to the person that invented XG, thank you for ruining football. Yours sincerely, every football fan ever.
It's just crazy. But the thing is, off that stat, have a look at this, right? Don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
The top stat is expected goals. The top stat. If I look in here, right? Listen to this. Nowadays, we can't just put the possession and passes. It's expected goals, ball possession, attempts, shots on goal, shots off goal, free kicks, corners, offside, throw-in, goalkeeper saves, expected goalkeeper saves, fouls, yellow cards, total passes, tackles, pass accuracy, attacks, dangerous attacks, ball carries. What is going on?
Yeah.
When they say football's not played on paper, it is now, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's not played on paper, guys. It's played on grass. In the words, he's in the chat. So I'm going to use this quote. In the words of Phil P. Woo! I have cataracts.
But what? Oh God, I hate modern football. Honestly, I hate modern football. We have made the game overcomplicated. Oh God, like XG. Oh, Spurs' XG is not. Let's go to some questions. This isn't a question, it's a statement, but I agree with it. These 3 games are more important and bigger tests than the last. As to be fair, we expect to win these, so I think it's more pressure. I can't disagree with that. Cannot disagree with that in any way, shape, or form, Luton Dan. This is where it becomes important, right? We weren't expected to get points versus Arsenal and Liverpool. Now we are. Let's see now the pressure's on if we go Spursy. Cantab, mate, we can. I've got a feeling everyone's going to say the same 11. Unless Sonny is out injured, I can't see what changes. I think it'll be the same 11. But let me know what you think. Big up, Rooksy Pop with a super chat. Lots of people have been talking about this guy. He said Garassi from Stuttgart is class. I don't know a lot about him. I've seen that he scored a lot of goals this year, but hasn't really elsewhere in his career. Tell me about him. I don't really know about this guy. But big up to you. Thank you, Rooksy, the old golf pro over there. Hope you're well, and thank you as always for supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. F1 2022 has said, Zaniolo, come on. I'll tell you what, whenever I've watched Villa go forward with that front three of Zaniolo, Diaby and Watkins, Zaniolo looks good. Injury prone, yes, but a good player, a very good winger, a very good attacker.
The only issue we had with Zaniolo was whether because he's had double ACL injuries. That was the only issue we had. As a footballer, he's far better than Lo Celso. I was far better footballer. I think Zaniolo's a top player. And he's showing it at Villa. He's a very good player. I don't know why we didn't go for him. And I've got to give it to Paratici. He wanted Zaniolo, and he was correct again. He seems to get correct on some of these players, even whether you like him or not. He's scouting players properly. Now he's not in.
He also scouted some very bad ones as well. Yeah. I've seen loads of posts lately where they're like, oh my God, look at the players Paratici brought in. And I'm like, okay, but there's another long list next to it.
There's a couple of clangers in there. There definitely is.
As well. Yeah, Chris, I agree. XG makes no sense to me. Never understood it. Listen, maybe this is a dinosaur YouTube channel. But for me, I just think
Heritage TV.
Yeah, I just think football's being overcomplicated, and some fans love it. I can't stand it. It's a very simple game, is football. Ian has said it used to show how attacking a team is apparently, but it's based on current performance stats. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Mark, I just shots has nothing to do with do some research. Okay, so TB, I've literally asked the question, haven't I? Yeah. What is it? What is expected goals? How have they worked out, for example, that Burnley had 18 shots, right? And their expected goals was 0.9. I'm just trying to understand it. Like,
who finished higher in the Championship last year, Burnley or Luton? So surely Burnley should have a higher expected goals because they finished better last year than Luton, who had to go up via the playoffs. Surely. But,
sorry,
that makes no sense.
Who determines the quality of the chance the team create? Who's determining that? So this is what I don't get. It's a stat for stat's sake.
Is it Paul Stewart?
It's Paul Stewart. Let's blame Paul Stewart.
No, never blame Paul Stewart. He's my guy.
I love Paul Stewart. He's a lovely guy. Ren has just said stats are dumb. Eyes tell me who can play football, not stats. Absolutely. Look at Villa's XG. I'll tell you what, let's do it. Let's look at Villa's XG. I love this game. This is fun. Do you know what? What you'll get on my show, right? At least I'm always honest. I won't pander to the needs of the many. And I'm bringing back the old school.
You're not Spock.
Huh?
You're not Spock then?
No.
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Right. Aston Villa's expected goal. This is where the stat then doesn't make any sense to me. Aston Villa scored 6 goals. Right? They had 19 shots at goal. And their expected goals was 1.48. Someone help me make this make sense. I need it to make sense. That person who came in trying to be all contradicting, saying, "Oh, it's about the quality of the chance." They scored 6.
Yeah.
Were 5 of those chances not quality chances? What's going on? Oh God. Joy the Boy said XG is measured over historical view for shots that are converted to a goal being X in true Savva. It's just a load of rubbish. What? Yeah. Wow. What is... Wow. Kate said, can't we ask Teddy to put his boots back on? I'd love Teddy Sheringham. See, I didn't need a single stat to tell me that boy was class. I didn't need a single stat. Big up to you, Kate. Much
If he's
love.
in the bell set, I'll go up there and ask him.
Yeah. Future Music has said NFL uses stats because the game is based on distance traveled. Football is far too random a sport. I agree. It's visual. I agree. Here you go. Right, XG calculates the chance of the shot going into the back of the net based on angles, surrounding defenders. So it's a load of bollocks. So what a load of bollocks. Based on the distance, the surrounding defenders, and the 8 angles. What are we doing? What is... Aman, I'm asking then, in your words, tell me why it's important, Aman. I'll shit on this all I like, mate. I've been watching football, I can guarantee, longer than you, right? I can shit on anything I want, my friend, okay? I can shit on it. Some of us remember football when it was nice and simple. Yeah. If your era, like this, cool. But I don't have any need for XG. Doesn't change my life or opinion on
this man cared about SG.
No.
Of course he did.
Yeah. Oh, just... What I knew if do you know what I love, by the way? Where's he said this? He's done the Gooner. Yeah, this is what makes me laugh. Is the people that come in and justify it. No one so far in the chat has come in and told me why it's important. Yes. XG is a statistic for people who never played the game to feel a part of something in some capacity. Damn right, it's a load of bollocks.
Yeah,
load of bollocks. Absolutely, Phil. I love these random conversations we have, Ben. Today is XG. Tomorrow could be something completely different.
Yeah.
That's what Google said. Hang on. What is XG?
Oh, bring it up. Let's see what Google says. Google's always right.
Expected goals is a metric that's intended to measure the probability of a shot resulting.
Hang on, let's try that again. Ready? This is what it says, everybody. What is XG?
According to Jobs in Football, essentially, expected goals is a metric that's intended to measure the probability of a shot resulting in a goal. The purpose is to show when a player should be expected to score from a particular opportunity, by basically rating how good of a goal-scoring opportunity it is.
I mean, what? Villa scored 6. Their XG should have been 6.
Yeah. They put the ball between those white sticky things.
It should have been 6. I tell you what, I've noticed this as well. I have as well. I'm not going to read this out for obvious reasons. I get this as well. I do see this. I do see this. I used to have a guy that would come on a lot. I can't remember his name, and then he just stopped watching me, hating me because I challenged him. XG is for Muppets. XG. Absolutely, Richard. Absolutely, it's for ex-girlfriend. But what? Who's measuring it? There's my next question. Who is measuring this? Because right, Ben and I could watch the same game, right, for 90 minutes. I could turn around and go, Ben, what a clear-cut chance. Ben could turn around and go, I don't know. I don't think it really was. I thought it was a half chance.
Yeah.
Who's measuring this metric?
Yeah.
Oh, Danny's Direction said XG is a good metric for understanding just how well a team is actually playing. No, it's not.
No.
How many good goal scoring opportunities is a team creating or conceding? Why do I need XG to tell me that?
Yeah.
Here we go. TB's back. XG is important because if it can explain if a player is unlucky or lucky over a period of time. I mean... Okay. Okay. Ironically, here is an interesting stat. Only team, Crystal Palace, has made more tackles than Spurs this year. I mean, it doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't mean anything.
I mean, it doesn't mean anything. Man City are top of the league. They won't care that they're not top of that stat. I said XG isn't a statistic, it's a metric. It is to compare quality of chances. We have nothing better than XG to compare our team create a chance that results to a goal. Yes, we do. We've got eyes.
Well,
let me ask you a question.
What you have is the scoreboard. If we've scored lots of goals, it means you're doing pretty well.
I've never known anything like this era of football fan.
Yeah.
Mikhail said, as a data analyst, I can't really go as hard on XG as you guys, but I get the point. I think it has its uses in making conclusions on players, matches, but you don't need it. It doesn't change I'll be honest. Let me know in the chat. Has XG ever changed anyone's opinions of a player?
Lionel Messi. It's a real shame that his XG isn't 3.2.
Right, bang on, Kate. Surely XG is wrong then. If a team scores 6 goals in a game, why is their XG only 1.46? That no one can make that make sense to me. Yeah, eyes are objective. Eyes are subjective. Eyes have never had a problem. Again, the 2023 era. Eyes never had a problem throughout the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. No, there was never a problem until recently, apparently, with people understanding footballers. I use my judge. Right. Anyone ever, have you ever looked at XG and gone, oh, actually, I changed my mind. He did have a good game or he did have a bad game. Oh, God, I can't stand this era of football fan, honestly.
Yeah.
It's why my channel will never grow. I've come to peace with it, Ben. I just can't pander to this pointless, crappy statistics and metrics. Yeah. It's a load of crap.
That's an elder. Bang on the money.
Right.
How many did Haaland score in the season before he joined Manchester City? Was that 35, wasn't it? Or was it more than that? How many goals did Erling Haaland score in his last season at Dortmund? Here we go.
A lot. Here you go. I've got all his stats up here. Ready. So, in his last year at Dortmund, he played 24 league games with 22 goals. Right? The season before that, 27 in 28. Last season, 36 in 35. That's just league, right? That's just league. Are we saying his XG was what? What are we? I don't understand.
Well, surely his XG should be very similar to what he scored the year before, because you set a standard for yourself. It's if you say, "Oh, Harry Kane scored 31 year," you would expect him to get in a very similar thing. Or if he gets a lot less, you'd be, "Oh, it's because he was injured. It's because of this." You could then bring in the variables to why he didn't get 30. But then he goes to there and he scores 7 goals instantly. It's like, okay, that matches the history.
I agree. There's some comments here. I agree with this. I believe it's based on a team of average, blah, 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 blah. Honestly, it's probably for the betting side of sports. I agree. We've had that one. XG is pointless. It rarely predicts the scoreline of a game. Yeah, I agree. Chris has said only one stat for the goal. Shots on goal. Did it go in? Yeah. Richard said XG is just another thing to talk about from people who don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, the same people who have ruined football with VAR. Isan Naguna, at the end of the day, XG doesn't make you win games. Get over this. XG is boring. Oh, whoa. All right. 7 SCSL. I didn't even know what XG was until last season. Yeah, probably like me. You never bother looking at it because it's a load of crap. Tommy G has said XG for Utes and people who couldn't kick ball when they were younger, a load of bollocks. Big up SP Skywalker said, well, I'm a British Indian. Love you, Savva. Big up the Mod Father too. Context and consistency. Yeah, listen, we're just here dispelling myths. Listen, I like a little bit of data. I just don't think XG has told me anything.
Data is good, but when you overuse it,
Oh, good God. Yeah, good God. Aussie Spur. Exactly. Can you imagine the greats of football right now? Can you imagine anyone asking Brian Clough about XG? XG, lad. I don't need XG. You know, I've got eyes. I see what I see. Yeah, the greats. And then you get 2023 football fan. Look, what does that sentence mean? What does that mean? XG 1.4 is equal to the summary 100% of PF goal. What's PF?
Photosynthesis finder. I don't know. Pterodactyl.
Mark, do me a favor, Mark. Stop typing in the word negative when you use my name. You do it. I know you do it as a joke, but people catch on. It's really starting to bore me now. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I just Savva wouldn't watch baseball for that very reason. Too slow, too many stats, too much data. It's not sport anymore. It's funny.
I really like baseball, but it's not because I like the sport. It's because I just like going to a ballpark. I think they're great. But
I mean, look at this. Look at this load of bollocks. Look at this load of bollocks. We're football fans. If a team creates 0.2 XG and scores 7 goals, that means that the team scored 20% chances on a goal. Go away. This is embarrassing. What is that?
I'm a football fan, not a mathematician.
What on earth is this? Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, young man, go away.
Yeah. I need Rachel Riley to be able to understand that. Someone give me Rachel Riley's phone number.
No, XG is great. It gives an indication of whether results are based on sustainable factors like a steady creation of chances, or whether it's down to aspects such as luck, or world-class goalkeeping. I'll ask the question again because none of you statisticians can tell me. So Aston Villa's XG was what? Lucky?
Yeah.
When they scored 6 goals, were they lucky? I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get what all this means. Yes, Steve AZM, Beckham telling Fergie, Gaffer, my XG's been top. You can't drop me. Oh, wow. Wow. I do, honestly. Yeah. Yes. Stop looking at the stats and watch the game. When you're watching a game of football, the only stat I have, I don't know about you, Ben, is 0-0 or whatever in the top corner of the screen.
Yeah. That's the only stat I care about.
Wow. Honestly. Antonio said XG is a lazy metric used to say my team's attack is better than yours team attack based on never having seen your team play. Right. I mean, no. I watched Aston Villa play. No. You are talking absolute bollocks. Yeah. Aston Villa should have scored more in that first half. They took Brighton to the cleaners.
Yeah.
What was luck? Oh my! Right in the chat, were Aston Villa lucky in their 6-1 demolition? What is this all about?
Luck is us and the VAR decision. That's luck. That's luck that people are idiots. Winning 6-1 is not lucky. Like Newcastle beating Sheffield United 8-0 is not luck. It means the team they were playing was awful. It was awful. Like what?
I don't know what's going on. I genuinely don't know what is going on here. Like, how are we now saying a team scores 6 goals and they're lucky? Now, this is how we all know, everyone, that this guy here doesn't understand football. If he needs XG to tell him that Aston Villa were lucky, I watched that game. That game could have been 6 or 7 at half time.
Yeah.
I mean, look, what? I mean.
Oh, yes. That's now for some realism.
So, Hoover, Aston Villa were lucky to win 6-1 against Brighton.
That's if you're looking at XG, then you say yes. If you're looking at the game and enjoy football, then you'll just say no. They just played well.
I need to know how.
Okay. So XG, this is something we've all used all for our lives. It's just we never had a name for it before. You know, when you say about a player, he couldn't hit a cow's ass with a banjo. You're saying basically he's got high XG, but he doesn't put the ball in the net.
Oh, I'm definitely not saying that. I'm definitely not.
No. But that's one of the biggest use I've seen for XG is something that fans don't give a monkeys about anyway. It's to do with like the Moneyball game, you know, the story about what happened in baseball and things like that. And teams like Brentford have brought it to the Premiership very successfully. They will use it when evaluating a player. They'll look at if they try and get a player on a bargain. They'll look at have they got into these positions where they scored, where they could have had a good goal scoring opportunity and they haven't taken it. They will get a low XG because all the thousands and thousands of cases the statistical data are put together to form that percentage. I think it's bollocks as well because there's no context. Doesn't tell you how prolific they are with either foot. Doesn't tell you what sort of goalkeeper they're facing. It's just purely from this point on the pitch, hitting a ball at goal, you generate this statistic. Now, Brentford and clubs like it doing the same thing. They'll look at players that have got currently a very low, underperforming, as in they are not hitting their XG, and think they've got a very low value because they're not hitting it. If we spent on them and then they start hitting the target as they're expected to, we could have a real bargain and their value goes up. So there is a big use for it, but it's data taken over a long amount of time. The longer, the better. You can't really use it to evaluate a game. You can't say just that Villa game that it should go to XG, because it clearly shouldn't. Players are going to be on form. Players will be off form.
This is what we're doing here. Look at this. Look at this. Like, how are football fans not enjoying football anymore? They're watching this crap. Aston Villa was lucky to score 6 goals. I watched the game. Aston Villa were unlucky they didn't score 10, right? When you see 8 chances to score, even clear big chances, they then have to score 4 and not 6. What is that bollocks there?
That's what I mean. It's all. This is kind of backroom stuff that shouldn't be of any interest when you're watching a game. This is for literally, it is the stats merchants when you're deciding on player evaluations over a period of time. It's boring. That's what it is. You just look at the game and enjoy what you're seeing. That's all that matters. And it's the old adage: the only stat that really matters is the scoreboard. That's it. I mean, the rest of it. Why do I care about how a player's performing in terms of XG? I don't. If he misses a sitter, I can tell you that.
I mean, okay, if we're going to scout players with stats, fine. But no one is going to tell me Aston Villa were lucky to score 6 goals. I watched that. I don't know. We're using that game by example.
Yeah.
But a 1.46 expected goals, they battered the crap out of Brighton. Brighton, every time they went forward, Aston Villa looked like scoring a goal. Doesn't this surely tell you that XG is a load of crap that makes no sense? And by the way, I'm not straw manning anything. You said they were lucky. They weren't lucky. This tells me that the generation of football fan is dead. That I watch the game and go, how have Villa not scored 10? You watch the game and go, they were lucky they scored 6. It's mad. I'm sorry, Kuva. This is
the difference. Yeah, statistically they're lucky, but in reality, they just played a blinder. It's like somebody scores 3 worldies in a game. They were brilliant. They weren't lucky, were they? It's just, like I said, you have to separate it from what you're watching. So just purely facts and figures breakdown. And we shouldn't have to do that as fans. It's crept into the game for no reason. So I agree with what you're saying. It's become like baseball and American football.
And it's
it's really suited to a game that has multiple long stops in it. So you can do these kind of analysis. For football, it's just not worth it. It really isn't.
Football is a game where Manchester City can have Barcelona had 95% of the ball versus Celtic, but Celtic won 1-0. Doesn't mean anything. They won 1-0. You could say it's lucky. Well, no, Barcelona didn't put the ball in the back of the net. They're idiots. They didn't perform. Whereas Celtic, they had a chance to put it in the back of the net. And that's great. That's great when that happens. It's always a bit of fun. It's why you've got to put the stats together, and you've also got to use them both together, because the both provides the context, and then your eyes provide the visual of it.
Absolutely. Oh, this one, does the low check mean we can get money for Richie? Perhaps that's what we did.
Possibly.
Perhaps that's what we did. We looked at his XG and thought he should have scored quite a few more, but he hasn't. Perhaps if we sign him, he'll start hitting his XG, and we got a really good goal scorer for less money than he's worth. Doesn't work out that way.
It's very similar. Can I find a bag of coffee with stats on it?
Yes, it's really going for it now. Anyway, end of the day, I'll stick with what I said to start with. It's a stat that's important for certain people within the game, but as fans, who gives a toss? You just look at how well they do on the day. It's about finishing those chances, even if they're difficult. That's what makes you good on the day and bad on the day. You don't need XG for that. You just watch it. It's simple. There's no context behind it. It's just purely, you know how they're trying to teach AI to drive cars and everything.
Yeah.
And the only reason they can do that is because they show millions and millions of hours of driving footage to the AI, so it learns from that. There is nothing in there that's going to like show a spot of brilliance in the driving or some sort of anticipation that you can only do based on those original statistics that it's got. So there's going to be mistakes happen. There's going to be things that you're not doing.
Random flying across the front of the car.
Yeah, anything like that. I mean, obviously, the more cases you've got, the more accurate you can be in terms of statistics. But that's all they are. It's just a metric for just separating the way separating it when you've got a little bit of a doubt over going for players. In my opinion, that's its biggest use. Rest of it's just padding out bloody TV shows with pointless stuff we don't need.
But it's big up Steve walking through on his day job. But it's like you said there, it is Kuva, because when people come in and use that as a basis to show why their team were good, oh, but we had a higher XG than you today. So, like, what does that mean? If your expected goals is 1.46, but you've scored 6, I'm calling it right now. What a rubbish crap.
How much possession, Savva, did we have versus Paris Saint-Germain? And what was the score?
Yeah, I mean, this is why it's just all
crazy,
all got a little bit silly, Steve.
Bro, I like statistics, data, and that kind of stuff as a supplement, but not as my main string to my bow, like you kind of said, right? Like, I don't want to just talk about stats. It's a supplement. It's a supplement, right? Oh, Girassi at Stuttgart. He's got 9 goals through however many games. Cool. It's about as deep as I'll go, really. But other than that, it's just like just doing too much.
When's football going to go back to its simple days when football fans were football fans and not data scientists?
Never. Sorry.
Make it more relevant.
That's the world. Unfortunately,
you can make it more relevant. Sorry, go. You can make it a more relevant comparison as well, couldn't you? Just doing about YouTube channels. Did you enjoy that stream? Yes, I did. Or no, I didn't. But you can go and analyze it and do all your statistics, which I know you would be doing, Savva, because you run your own channel. You've got to have a look at the data analysis and you'll see what's doing well. There's all these layers of information that you can delve into if you want to try and improve your show.
Yeah, but not when it lies.
You don't need, but you don't need to come out on screen and share it with everybody, do you? It's boring stuff.
But especially when it lies. Like, look at this comment, right? Do it right. Everybody in the chat and everybody on the panel. Does everyone agree with that? A higher XG means you created more quality chances than your opponent. Everyone agree with that?
No.
Right. Then it's bollocks. I'm going to tell you why. I've dipped back in to my Brighton Aston Villa game last weekend. Right. Now, the score was 6-1. Right. I watched the game and the expected goals was 1.46 for Aston Villa and 1.64 for Brighton, who I can tell you did not have better opportunities in the game than Aston Villa by any way, shape or form. I think we probably all watched it. So that is a lie. That stat I can prove right now is a complete load of fucking bollocks. And I'm swearing I've demonetized myself. That's how angry I am at this fucking bullshit. It's crap.
Savva, the other thing is too, no, you don't need fucking XG. You don't need to create chances for XG. Motherfucker, a penalty is like 50%. You don't have to earn penalties. Apparently Kulu's in the box a lot. Well, if he gets tripped up, he didn't create anything. He just dribbled into the box and stopped creating. Compared to if Madison is stringing motherfuckers, bam, 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 and no one's finishing.
Whoa, Steve, when I said I was demonetizing myself, I didn't mean like as a free-for-all for everyone to just use the F word every second, mate. Like, you know, they might not pick up on my sentence. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you can swear once or twice, but not 5 times.
Not 4 times in 1 minute.
Saying that, Danny Kiriaki came onto our show. He swore 20 times and we didn't get nothing.
It just pisses me off. It pisses me off because it's like, no, XG does not mean you created more chances because penalties are the biggest XG. Like, how do you? It's just
Like a penalty,
bro.
XG for a penalty should either be 1 or 0. Did it go in or did it not go in?
It
If
should
it's
be
a
no.
goal-
It should be 0.5.
No,
0.5
but
is a 50-50
well,
chance.
that's the thing with a penalty, Steve. It's either a goal or it isn't.
Right. It's either a
So it
save
should either
or
be 1 or 0.
So hang on. A factual metric based upon a wealth of historical data. Why does historical data got anything to do with the Brighton and Villa expected goals in that 90 minutes?
Because it's a probability study. It's not a. It's what in one game. It's just completely worthless, in my opinion. It's to study a trend over, say, the longer the better. So, say 200 games, you get an underlying trend.
Just quickly, Steve, put your seatbelt on.
Oh.
Steve, put your seatbelt on. Good man. Good man.
Good man.
I don't have to in my state, but whatever.
Okay. All right. There you go. Fair enough. But okay. So straight away, then, what that's telling us is it's bollocks. If it's going on historical data and not actually what happened during a game of football, then when people coming at the end and they go, "Oh, our XG today was this," it means nothing. That's like me saying, Kuva, imagine me and you were single, right? That's like me saying, Kuva, last weekend we went out, I pulled 2 birds, you only pulled 1. What's that mean? We're going to a different bar, different place, different women. We're wearing different clothes, different aftershave. What does it...
There you go. So take the most basic as well. We mentioned it earlier, penalties.
Right.
No, you'd think it would be the same XG all the time, and it is, isn't it? But... you put one goalkeeper in for a penalty and then put a different goalkeeper in for another penalty.
Yeah.
And there's different outcomes because one goalkeeper's prolific at saving penalties. Or the striker is not too good at scoring them and bottles it a lot. None of that's taken into consideration. It's purely the fact that the ball's on the spot and it's a penalty.
Here's my problem. I don't even think it goes deep enough. Let's throw some more variables in. Stadium, goalkeeper color, type of ball, material of ball. Like, let's go even deeper because that stuff also, like for me, if Joe Gomez, okay, Liverpool, Salah takes pens. Joe Gomez could take a penalty. That XG, that can't be the same. Because who in their right mind would think, oh, it's an equal chance that Salah scores a penalty at Villa Park compared to if Joe Gomez did? You know what I'm saying? It's like that don't make sense. I think it has to be even deeper. And at that point, Kuva, you're right, bro. It's like we've already got with baseball. It makes sense because it's so situational and it's so slow.
Do you know what? I actually liked some of the analysis until I found out that it isn't actually based on the event of that day, but it's on historical data. So we're basing the data from one game based on games against other people with different players, different defenders, different time of the day, different lineups, different goalkeepers, different injuries. So essentially, it is bollocks.
Yeah, it's only use. It's only use. Yeah. It's only uses for probability. It's not for fact. It's not for the day. It's a pointless thing.
Like I watched Monaco and Nice like 2 weeks ago. Balogun in the first half missed a penalty. How is his XG for a penalty? How can that be the same when he himself missed a penalty in the first half? And then you have to think about the mental thing, which is what the stats can't account for.
Yeah.
You aren't going to be as confident taking a penalty in a game when you've already missed one, right?
Yeah, thank you. Congratulations. I understand what a metric is. It's just a load of bollocks. And congratulations, because one day in the future, you might actually understand football rather than need your little stat pad to join in.
He's all right. He's all right. He just favours them.
I always hear that. And then he comes in here and listen, I can't deal with non-football fans. I can't deal with data scientists who watch football and then want to tell me about football via data rather than what they saw. It just doesn't work for me. I'm sorry. You're misunderstanding. An XG model uses. I'm not misunderstanding. It's a load of bollocks. It's a load of bollocks. If a team scores 6 goals, their XG is less than 1.5. That makes no sense based on what they've done in previous games. Makes no sense.
The only way that you can...
Surely my XG should be based on this day. Surely my XG tomorrow, Tottenham's XG against Luton, should be based on what do we do against Luton, Kuva? Not what did we do against Liverpool or Sheffield United. It's different players. It's different formations, different tactics, different level. Yeah. Sorry.
So using it historically has more value anyway, because if you're looking at reasons why you're not getting goals, you might start looking at that data of how often are we getting into the box, how often are we getting to the byline, those sorts of things, and bring that in. It's for deep level analysis. You don't need to do that as a fan. As a fan, it's like watching a movie at home or something. You don't need to know how the power consumption of your monitor's working. You just care about what you're seeing on the screen. That's it. It's you can do all of these extra things, but why? Why bother?
Yeah, I mean, Mikhail, as a TV, sorry, it's not bollocks for mathematicians and analysts. Cool. Let the mathematicians and analysts do it, and then you're right. For the football fan, it's pointless, which is why I don't like it when football fans bring that as part of their debate as to if a team were good or not. Because this is, surely though, Savva, nobody expected Villa to score 6 goals. But when you watch them, yes. Before the game, no one did. During the game, they battered Brighton. So I did expect them to score. They look dangerous. Oh my God. Oh my God. Honestly, guys, shoot me now. Put me down. Yeah. VAR, expected goals. All of this crap is just killing the football that I grew up with. It's killing it.
I don't even like the wording of expected goals, because expected means it's in you're in the moment, and like, I expected you. It's an evaluation. I just, the wording of it don't make fully enough sense to me. It's like, no, I call it just, how many goals should you have scored? So shoulda, coulda, wouldas.
If bats and monkey nuts in the words of Kate.
Yeah. Well, did any of you see that press conference? I think it was last week or the week before about Erling Haaland. It was Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola was asked loads of questions about Erling Haaland. And it was loads of questions around, oh my God, his expected goals, his conversions, is this. Pep Guardiola, you could see, was looking at them as if to say, what the F are you talking? What are you talking? Like, what do you mean? He was like, Erling's got 8 goals this season. Like, what are we? Yeah, but he's not as good as last year. He's not as clinical. Erling's got 8 goals this season. Erling will score in the games that matter. Like, what are we? You know, we're using this now to judge games. We're using this now to question managers about the top goal scorer in the Premier League for the last 18 months. Where does it end, Ben Coover? Where does this nonsense end before we get to a point where you don't need a ref? Yeah, there's no point fans having an opinion because it's all done on this statistics and history. Where does it end?
It ends when football becomes boring like other sports. Like, look how bad Formula 1 is now. Formula 1 used to be exciting. Look how boring it is now. Look how boring football is going to be in 10 years when it becomes ultra slow, over-analysed, surgically taken apart, every single thing. And when they were like, oh, we'll start having more water breaks. And look what we're going to do. Oh, we're going to have the water break sponsored by Evian. Or we're going to have this snack break is sponsored by Hobnobs, because everyone loves their Hobnobs. That's when it ends. That's when it ends, when it becomes slow, boring. And then people are they're just going to stop watching it, and they're going to find another sport to ruin.
And they stop supplying Gary Neville with the Sky Sports budget to spend on a big bit of technology for the studio. Yeah. That'll help bring an end to it as well. It's just we got football rammed down our throats. Yeah. People need content, and they're just now relying on stats. Pad everything out, overanalyze everything.
Yeah. Just to big up the county of Somerset, where Mark Coven's come from. I've got a random coffee shop in Somerset called the Crumbs of Keynsham. I'm not going to judge them on what equipment they use. I'm going to go there and drink the bloody coffee, and I'm going to say, oh, that was an all right coffee. That was all right. The service was good. The food was good. I'm not going to say, oh, that's definitely a good coffee shop because they've got a Conti CC202. They must be a good coffee shop. No, I'm going to drink the bloody coffee. And that's what we've done. Oh, we're looking at all this data. Oh, that's going to be a good game of football. No, watch the game of football and see if it's a good game of football or not.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my good God. Oh my good God. I'm going to put it out there. Lots of players miss good chances. I mean, one of the Premier League's best ever goal scorers, Andy Cole, missed chances a lot. But you know what? When it mattered, the man scored goals and won his team leagues, cups, and Champions Leagues. Like, what are we doing here?
I also remember hearing the phrase that I don't worry about a striker as long as he's getting into those positions and missing them. It's when they're not getting into that position you worry. Pep isn't worried about Haaland because he's hit 8 goals. No problem. They're top of the league. Still in. Yeah.
XG is the most accurate predictor of future team and player performance available. So XG can tell me, let's say Colton Morris scores a hat-trick tomorrow for Luton. Is XG going to predict that? Did XG... I'll tell you what, here you go. Let me throw your model at how bad it is. Did XG predict Villa to score 6 against Brighton? So it's not. It's not accurate, is it? XG, every Spurs fan in the world told me we were going to beat Sheffield United 5-1, 4-0, 6 this, 7 that. Scored 2 goals.
That's what we love about football, though, isn't it? Probability can predict a lot of things, but at the end of the day, we don't know what's going to happen, and that's why we watch.
Yeah,
that's why I said 2-1. By the way, because I looked at I watched the 2 Sheffield United games before, or sorry, the one before the Man City game, and I'm like, damn. They're playing these guys real tough. 2-1. It took Rodri the last minute. I was like, why couldn't they go to Spurs and do that? You know, hold them tight for a long time, but lose late. And that's what Luton have been doing lately also. No one has battered Luton outside of the first 2 games, which was Brighton 4-1 win and Chelsea 3-0 win. Other than that, they haven't been battered. They haven't lost by more than 2 goals. So that's why I'm saying, all right, I think. And also the fact that Savva was right earlier when y'all were talking about Spurs' struggles so far this season with the low block. So that's why I said 2-1 late Spurs winner. I didn't need XG.
I never, ever finish a game and ever look at the XG. It's only when I come online and it gets rammed down your throat. But the XG this, the XG that. I don't know about you, Kuva, Ben. I watch the game and go, oh, we won today, we lost today, or we played well, we didn't play well. I never go and look at carries in the final third and XG and expected conversion. I just don't know. When did football fans need this? When did football fans start using this?
The only one I really like when it comes to those sort of stats, other than the scoreline, is to have a look at how many shots we had, just because it's another bragging thing, isn't it? You know, we're really exciting. Look at all them shots getting banged in. Look how many on target. Those are fun stats. Rest of it, I agree. It's padding out content for the sake of it. And somebody said in chat, it's basically for the coaching staff at best. The fact that fans are now looking at this kind of thing with putting any sort of merit into it is pointless. Absolutely pointless.
But apparently it's to allow us to look beyond current results to get a better idea of the underlying quality of both teams and players. Sorry. Okay, let me ask you a couple of questions. Quick fire. Does anyone need XG to tell them that Luton Town are going to be in a relegation battle this year?
Nope.
Does anyone need XG to tell them that Man City will probably win the league?
Funny enough, no as well.
Does anyone need XG to tell them that Sheffield United will be in a relegation battle this year?
No.
Anyone need XG to know that Crystal Palace will probably finish somewhere between 11th and 16th like they normally do this year?
You mean 11?
Right. It doesn't give me any better idea of the underlying quality. Do you know what gives me a better idea of the underlying quality of both the teams and the players?
Your cataracts?
Steve is on mute, but yes, watching them. Like Kuva, we watched Liverpool at the weekend, right? Let's be fair, for the first half an hour, they were the better team. Right? They were the better team. They were very good on the transition, right? When you watch that Liverpool game, you know they're going to be right up there, right? Whether it's second or third, you know they're going to be right up there.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with a model of XG.
Absolutely. And there's bigger ones as well you can point at. You could look at Luton, say, at the end of the season, they could finish bottom with a pitiful amount of points, and look at their XG it could be something quite reasonable. You could say, oh, they should have scored a lot more goals than they did. The XG didn't help them, did it? It just shows that they weren't good enough to meet that XG. So what good was the XG for them? Predicted nothing.
The XG
I agree.
The XG makes
sense. I don't know when
if
fans needed this information to judge play. Like, that sentence is hilarious. It gives us a better idea of the quality of the player. No, it doesn't. Like, I'm not going to pick on him. Colton Morris, right, who I think is a good championship level striker for Luton, right?
Mid Premier League. Yeah.
I don't think he is a mid Premier League. But let's be brutally honest. We've got nothing to suggest that. He's got a couple of penalties, right? For me, I don't need XG to tell me that guy will probably get somewhere between 7 and 9 goals this season in the Premier League. Maybe 10, 11 if he's lucky. I don't need XG that. I don't need XG to tell me that Erling Haaland's going to get 35, 40 goals in the Premier League this season if he stays fit. Don't need it. Sonny. How many goals is Sonny going to get this season, everyone? Kuva?
17, 18, 19, 20.
Yeah, about that.
Right, 20? We'll go with 20?
Sure. Yeah. He's a really good finisher.
I'm going to go 25 because, okay,
25. All right.
25 and a nice silver trophy. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. 20 to 25 goals. We're all comfortable that Sonny could easily knock in 20 to 25 goals. I have no idea what Sonny's expected XG is this season. You know what? I don't care. Does he score goals when we need him to when he's through on goal? Yeah. Yes. Like, football is
also,
now being watched by a lot of people.
Here's another thing about
XG.
I was just gonna say about XG also. How does it take into account players like Son Heung-min who don't have a weak foot? How do they take that into account? Because or Dimitri Payet, sometimes he can take a shot. Both of those guys can take shots where you don't know if they're gonna go with the outsider or their regular foot or whatever foot, right? How does the XG calculate for that? Because you can take a shot inside the box with the outside of your foot. You could side foot it. You could chip it. You could toe poke it. You could heel it. You know what I'm saying? Like, how does XG take all that stuff into account? It just says, from this area versus a goalkeeper. I don't you know what I'm saying? How does it take into account for that stuff? How?
Danny, I just want to say, maybe if a goal scorer is scoring a lot of goals, it means that the XG was absolutely crap and wrong. If Erling Haaland is scoring more than his XG, it's not because, oh my God, he's exceeded his XG. It's Erling Haaland is a world-class goal scorer. I can't deal with this. I can't deal with this narrative that we need this stat to tell us who is a good goal scorer or not. Was Jermaine Defoe a good goal scorer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? I reckon his XG would have probably been low. He had a lot of chances in the game.
Marley Carty.
It goes back to Kuva's point. It goes back to Kuva's point. Getting in the box, getting the chances. That's what matters to me.
No. Defoe is the other way round, isn't it? His XG would be high. He'd be expected to score a lot of goals.
Sorry. Yeah.
Score as many,
Sorry. But back to your point, Kuva, of getting in the box. That's the important thing. Getting in the box, getting the chances. That means more to me than XG. If every goal scorer misses chances, otherwise, why would teams have? I mean, let's have a look. Last week, right? Let's have a look at Man City. Right, Man City last weekend. Have a guess how many shots they had in the game against Wolves that they lost.
10.
25.
Right. Man City
10.
had 28 shots on at goal. Right? Whether that's on goal, off goal. If people didn't miss chances, Man City would have scored 28 and Wolves would have scored 3. It just football doesn't work like this. Is the problem. It's not real. These stats aren't real. And the best comment I saw was this. Sorry, I love this comment. Where was it? Right. What are the assumptions of the XG model, though? For example, does it assume full player health? These models can be biased and deeply flawed depending on the underpinning assumptions. I agree. Is a player fully fit? Is he playing with an injury? Has he only come on and played 10 minutes of the game?
Has he played a full 90 and it's the 98th minute of a game?
Like I said, the only use for it for me is when clubs are trying to find themselves a bargain. You know, somebody that's underperforming, and then see if that changes. Otherwise, why do fans need it at all? Is someone enjoy it? That fair enough. Somebody said it well in the comments earlier. They said nothing to stop mathematicians and stats enthusiasts to enjoy that, but for the rest of us, it is just waste of time, isn't it?
We are sick as football fans of crap players or players who just aren't performing to their standard. We're just tired and sick of all the nonsense about, oh, well, he's actually doing better than you think. He's world class because this metric said this and this. No, dude, you have to look at what the guy is doing, and if the stats will, it's a supplement. It can't be the main argument, because anyone can do that then. None of us watch Chinese league football. So if we just said, oh, that player must be the best because he's got the most goals. Really? Is it? Anyone can say that. Nobody watches the Chinese league. Okay. Well, then anyone can say it with stats. That's the problem. You don't have to watch the game if you just look at the stats. That's the problem with all this. They are justified for players who are underperforming.
I agree.
That's the annoying part. So
also, the stats don't take into account the awful VAR decisions that we're getting. Look at Liverpool's XG. Should have been higher last weekend. Listen, big up to everyone. Just a last quick one. We're going to go with, it looks like we've got a clean bill of health tomorrow, by the way, from Sonny. So all of that looks like it was much to do about nothing. Are we all expecting, for the last 5 minutes, are we all expecting the exact same 11?
Yeah, X11.
An XG of the same 11 is probably based on historical evidence.
I would like to see a different 11. I'd like to see a couple of players with a bit more pace play. I'd like to see Kulusevski drop to the bench, and I'd like to see Pedro Porro at right wing. Because I think we need to be playing with pace tomorrow. I think we need to get an early goal, and then we need to stretch that back line. So I would probably play pacier forwards.
Yeah,
that's just me though. Or I would move Kulusevski into that number 8 role and then do exactly the same thing. Play Emerson Royale at right back. Maybe Sarr might not be the right player for tomorrow's game. I want to see players that attack tomorrow. We need more attackers on the pitch.
I agree, Kuva.
Yeah, I can see the sense in that as well. I mean, if we're really going for it and they are sitting way back, then Richarlison and Valise up front and just sit Sonny behind them to try and get him a loose ball with a bit of space around him. Then just go at the flanks with a bit of pace. As you said, Savva, we want to see a little bit different. I think it's all well and good Kulusevski drifting inside as long as you got Porro overlapping him. He wasn't doing that against Liverpool. The only time he did, we got a goal out of it. So need to tinker with what we're doing. I think we got plenty enough to beat Luton. It's Luton, for God's sake. They say there's no easy games, but I mean, if this isn't an easy one, what is? This is relegation candidates here. If they don't finish bottom, I'll be very surprised.
Kuva, there aren't any easy games, though. That's the thing. I genuinely mean it. Like, when you go into it, right? You might batter them 8-0. Certain teams, can do that kind of thing. But I just think, like, with Luton, they've been keeping it very close, and I've been watching the games too. Like, for me, you got to look out for Giles. That's the player for me that stands out. Giles on the left and Issa Kabore on the right. They're gonna give Spurs a lot of trouble in terms of the quality, balls into the box and whatnot, the pace. And you got to look out for Morris and Adebayo, because like those guys, they're not the most amazing, obviously, but they will cause headaches, and they've They could drag you out. In the air, they're very good. Good footwork. So they have something to work with, Luton. It's not a lot, but it is something.
Yeah, listen, I tell you what, when I watched them play against Chelsea, the forwards are lively. The forwards are powerful, lively. Are they great goal scorers? No, but they're going to give, I think they'll give a Doggy and Porro and the centre halves a scare. Will they get enough of the ball to scare us that they're going to beat us? I don't think so. I don't think they should. Hopefully we get a nice, comfortable win. A couple of super chats have come in. S7SC has said it's a stat to make deluded fans feel better about their club. I agree. Yeah, we lost the game, but our expected goal was 3.2 to your 1 point. Bollocks, go away. Big up to you, 7SC. And Warrior Without Master is a great name. Said, I'll make this a super chat because I believe this is the real motivation. This XG stat sounds like the result of people needing to manufacture work to keep their job. I think that about a lot of things that we are creating things now to give people, clever computer people jobs. But listen, big up to you, Warrior Without Master. Really appreciate that. Right, just quickly, we are going to be back tomorrow. I'm going to be back tomorrow at 11:30 for the build-up to the game. I'm sure some of the lads will join. Then we've got the watch-along for the 12:30 kickoff. So join us at 11:30 for that. Score prediction, Steve, Luton Town versus Tottenham.
I'm saying 2-1 Spurs late. 97th minute winner from a Romero header. Why not?
Okay, 2-1. Ben?
3-0 Tottenham.
3-0. Kuva?
Do I need to say it?
7-3.
Absolutely.
7-3. Love it. Yeah. Big up. Couple of comments to round off. Big up, Brett. Yeah. A very simple game. Now played under a microscope. Never did we talk about this madness before. Completely agree with you, mate.
Right.
New age fans, mate. New age fans that have been... I'm not going to say it. I'll offend people. You know me. I don't like offending people. And by the way, just the last thing I'll say, the reason why you know that this is a complete load of bollocks is no team can score 3.87 goals in a game. So your expected goals is crap unless you give me an actual number. 2, 3, 4. What is 3.87 all about, you nerds and geeks? Listen, after offending everybody there, thank you very much. Kuva, Ben, Steve, thanks for jumping on, guys. Much love. And please subscribe to everybody. The Calfee Company, Strasbourg, Steve, Free Spurs Boys. And I don't even care if you subscribe to me anymore. I'm going anti-2023 football now. I'm changing the name of my channel and everything. Take care, everyone. See you later. And always remember one thing.
And as always, Levy out.
I can't find my exit button. There it is.